It's that time. Welcome to Roadmap, how to take 3 listings a week until you're ready for more. Each week we interview a great agent who has a strong listing business, and we have an exciting guest today. We encourage you to take notes and apply as much of their knowledge as quickly as you can, and then use the copycat principle. If you're watching on Vulcan 7 or the Lead Gen Facebook group, well, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions during the broadcast. Type those in early, folks. Type those questions in early. Let me introduce my co-host from San Diego, Carly Hathaway. That's carlyhathaway.com. Hi, Carly. How's the real estate business?
Hi, Ren. Real estate is great. Properties are moving super quickly, so it's a really good time to be a listing agent for sure.
Wonderful, and I like your price point there.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yes, great. Well, let's welcome our guest today from beautiful Portland, Oregon, and she probably sells all over the state. Spring Cutsforth. Welcome, Spring. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Ren. Good morning, Ren. Good morning, Carly.
Good morning, Spring. We're so excited to have you on today.
Well, and thank you. It's great to be here with you. Thanks for having me. It's a real opportunity. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited.
Great.
So if somebody wants to send you some business, Spring, maybe they want to buy a nice home in Paradise, or they know somebody that wants to sell or buy in your market, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They should certainly pick up the phone, give us a call, 503-245-9000, or of course they can email spring@springsteam.com.
Okay, or they could go to springsteam.com and see what you're doing, right?
Of course, absolutely. Can always visit the website and reach us that way.
Good. All right, so there's 3 great ways to reach Spring and send her some business. So send her some business. That'd be great. Good.
We love referrals.
Good. I know. And you've been doing this a while.
Oh gosh,
Don't ask that question. Okay. You've been doing this a while.
Yeah. So you're not going to ask me how old I am. I was licensed in 91, you guys. It's been 27 years.
So you were licensed at 13 years old, huh?
I love you, Carly. Absolutely.
It was.
That's great. That's a long run.
It is a long run. I've seen good times. I've seen really rough times when the market turned down in 2007, 8, 9, 10. Really, It was exciting times to be in real estate. But yeah, we've seen a little bit of everything.
Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So where's your business coming from these days? Or is it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ren. I think we're in the middle of, the market's shifting. The economy is shifting as a whole, I think. And so is the real estate industry. So we obviously do for sale by owners. We do expireds. Most of my business was built on expired listings. But we also do just listed, just solds, our past clients. We're working retirement homes now. We've got a program where we're going in there. So we're really spreading out, and it's all about trying to get your customer first before somebody else does.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So several good sources of business. We have somebody in our studio audience that's watching a show on Facebook, so you're going to have to turn the audio off and just listen to this audio. Thank you.
So what's your goal?
I heard this echo over in the gallery, and I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah. So what's your goal this year?
So, Carly, here's the thing. We're kind of just getting back into it. Our goal this year is 75 closed transactions.
I think that's an amazing goal. Are you kidding me? Anyone would be happy with that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Are you on track right now?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
So what's the morning look like where you are?
Oh, so morning,
Not the weather now. Yeah.
Hey, it is God's country here, I'll tell you. So morning schedule, get up, do a little bit of meditation, that type of thing. I have certain days that I work out, not every day. And then what I do is I turn on some highly motivational, inspirational material while I jump in the shower and get ready. Really energizes me, gets my mind focused in the right place.
Yeah.
I then get to the office. I do affirmations. Sometimes I write them. Sometimes I say them out loud. For me, it's a great mix to do a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. I'm not role playing now. I normally role play. I'm not doing that currently, and I need to get back into that. I will a couple days a week read the script just so I'm familiar. And then at 8 o'clock, I'm on the phone dialing, ready to work.
Yeah. Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
What time do you get to the office?
So we have a home office. So I'm normally in the office somewhere between 7:30ish. Some mornings early, earlier.
Yeah. And you're on the phones by 8 every morning.
8 a.m.
Why do you think it's so important to be on the phones by 8?
Wow. So has our market ever changed? Expired listings. If you're not on the market, if you're not there at 8 a.m., you're just, by the time, if it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, they've had so many calls. They're just done.
Mm-hmm.
There are people watching this show right now that have never been on the phone in the morning, ever. And their business comes in a little more randomly. What would your life be like if you weren't on the phone at 8 a.m.? If you just put some advertising out there and waited for people to call, what would it look like? Would you be buying
rent,
by the pound or what?
That's a really great question. So, I was trained by Mike Ferry, the national real estate trainer.
Okay.
Fast. You guys, Mike Wren.
Mm-hmm.
He taught us really early on that we had to actually be out there generating business.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sit around and wait for business to come. So if I am not on the phones, there's a huge amount of now business that I'm not going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So it creates almost like a void if you're not dialing. And here's the thing, our job, unfortunately, as a realtor, we're glorified telemarketers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things I say is you've got to learn to sell. You've got to learn to become a good salesperson. And that's regardless of what you want to do in life. If you don't know how to sell, if you can't be with people and be enrolling, right? It's just, you don't have a lot of influence in the world.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Makes sense.
So when you're on the phones at 8 a.m., you're calling the new expireds right away. That's number one.
Yep. Start right off with those expireds.
Okay. All right. And then you mentioned you do a lot of prospecting with just listed, just sold. Can you kind of walk us through how you do that in your process?
Sure. I love just listed, just sold. So, expireds and for sale by owners, those are a little tougher to call. Expireds are beat up. They're pretty rough. It's like going into a boxing match. You better have some gloves on, right?
Yeah.
But just listed, just sold, what's great is you'll have to make more of those calls to get high quality leads.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really easy calls for the most part because there's nobody else calling them. And it's actually a warm call. I just simply, it's funny, Ren and Carly, I just got on Vulcan. I had been using the competitor RedX. And I would sit and I would dial hundreds of calls on the dialer, right? What's interesting is I got on Vulcan and I said, okay, give me a round because I've got the neighborhood that you have, the neighborhood search. I got on there and it said, you only need to do 25. You only need to download 25 because you'll get plenty. And I'm like, I don't think so. I need a couple hundred. But then finally I thought, okay, I'll just try it. So it gave me 25. I called 25 and they were around a listing that I had 2 pendings in the area. I actually got 2 hot leads off of that.
Oh, that's great.
And here's what was so beautiful about it, you guys, is that I only got 25 records, right? And I got 2 leads. So your data, I got to tell you, you guys are lightweight ahead of everybody else. So
yeah, that's a new service for us. Vulcan 7 neighborhood search has only been out for 6 weeks. And that's what people are telling us. They're like, everybody answers the phone. It takes me a long time just to get through 30 or 40
contacts.
Because everybody keeps answering. So
right, exactly. I was so
good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what that looks like. And it's a real fruitful way. And it's a way, if you don't have a ton of skills, that you can get in and actually start making some calls.
Mm-hmm. And do you follow?
You must have it down pretty tight about what you're saying to those people to get those leads and whatnot. Do you have a very exact script, or is it? So
it's so great, Ren. So the one thing I would say is I have spent my life learning how to become a really great salesperson. Between, do you remember Matthew's old NLP 6-month programs, to writing sentences every day and being held accountable and having, people cashing checks if I didn't.
Wow.
So I do follow the scripts religiously. And here's the thing, I've made hundreds and thousands of prospecting calls. And so I'll go up against it and you're not going to sidetrack me. You're not going to give me an objection that's going to throw me. You're not going to say something to me that I can't figure out a comeback. So yes, I am religious about the scripts. And once you get to know the scripts, I think the beautiful thing is that you don't necessarily have to follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What happens is And I mentioned this earlier, you've got to learn how to be with people. So if I get an expired and they're upset, I've got to actually recreate what they're upset about so that they can feel heard. And then I can, start walking through my script with them. Well, gosh, curious, if your home had sold, where did you want to move to? Right? With great empathy, because I'm actually able to just be with them. And I've had expireds for sale by owners, all of them say, oh my gosh, they're so different than the realtor. And I attribute that to my sales skills.
Yeah, because it comes more naturally because you've practiced so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So when you're calling, say a just listed, when do you call the neighborhood? Do you call it the day you're listing it, the day before, 3 days later? Like, what's exactly your routine?
It's really great. So it's more, the just listed, just solds are more random. Our business has been built on expired listings. So as you guys know, there's times in the year where we have a lot of expired listings, and there's times of the year that we have less. So during times that we have less, we'll make more just listed, just sold calls, right? Because they're not as hot of a lead as, say, maybe an expired or for sale by owner, versus in the months where we have huge amounts of expireds, we'll be focused on getting through every one of those first before we move to the just listed, just solds.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. And it's working for you guys, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
You want to go where you know they want to sell. They're actually marketing, they want to sell their home. And who better to help them, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then what's your follow-up process?
Follow-up. So really great, Carly. That is my weak link. So what's interesting and what's important, I think, in business is to understand what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. So I kind of laugh because I love, give me a big stack of hay and I will consistently go pull out, right, the needles in the stack of hay. What's interesting, that's what's fun for me. I love to do that. I love to get on the phone and box with the sellers. But then once I get the hot ones, the ones are like, yep, come list me this afternoon, or let's meet on Friday, right? Once I get those, I have all this stack of like hot stuff that, I got to talk to my husband and stuff. I totally dropped the ball. And what we're doing is we're putting measures in place so that Courtney is now going to actually help start doing some of the follow-up for me, calling back through saying, yeah, I wanted to go ahead and set an appointment where you could get together with Spring. We can help you get your home sold. So, it's funny. We just went through a stack of leads and we checked status on them. And I think there was something, I don't know, there was like $400,000 worth of business sitting there that we literally didn't follow up on. I have a big sign, if you could see, it says 70% of business comes from lead follow-up. So I recognize it's not the thing that I enjoy doing. I love getting a program in place, so we'll have that taken care of.
Yeah, well, good. At least it sounds like you have a plan, though, so that's what's most important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun.
Simple system. So if you guys get some really simple systems that you adhere to, you're going to pick up a lot of money. Is that the challenge?
I think, Ren, this business can be so complicated if you make it.
Yeah, I know.
You've got to keep the ego out of it, and you've got to just keep it super simple and super streamlined. It's not complicated. The more simple, our lead follow-up is as simple as we have a notebook, and we have 1 through 30 and January through December. We get a lead, they go in that notebook, and every day we just go through and we pull those out.
Okay.
Super simple. It's not complicated. We can take them on the road with us. We can take them if we're driving to expireds and we've got 3 or 4 appointments today. We can still do our leads on the road. So,
that's smart.
So that sounds like, in a funny way, it sounds like that's where all your growth is going to come from over the next 2 years. Just lead follow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like that you take them on the road with you and just call as you're driving, or if you get to a house a little early or something like that. That's smart.
Well, what's great, Carly, if we get to a house a little bit early and we actually try to do that, we try and give enough time in between appointments. What we actually do is I've started going and talking to the neighbors in the immediate area of where my appointment is and just saying, hey, I'm talking to your neighbor about listing their home. I was just wondering, do you happen to know of any buyers? Here's your chance to pick your neighbors. Do you know any family members or friends that want to move into the area? So, and it's a way to help differentiate myself against all the other realtors, because the seller's like, what in the world is she doing? She's dressed in a suit. She's all dressed up. It's hot. And she's out talking to my neighbors, you know? So in this day, it really is about differentiating ourselves.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And let me ask you, how long is your typical listing presentation?
You know, it really varies. It's not long. Again, I was trained by Mike Ferry. A lot of times you walk in, you ask the 3 simple questions, and if they say yes, great, let's get right to it. When I pre-qualify a listing, before I go on an appointment, once it's set, we'll go do all of the work, we'll do the pricing, and then we call back and we pre-qualify them, and we use Mike Ferry scripts. And for all of you out there, if you don't have scripts, go to Mike Ferry. The scripts are free. Got them all on his website. Start role-playing, practicing, right? Get to know those scripts. So we pre-qualify. So we already, in our mind, are really probing them for price. We're trying to figure out what their objections are. So we pretty much know that going in. Mm-hmm. So then we just simply, it's like, great, let's get the contract signed. A lot of times we're actually just docu-signing paperwork. I never actually go meet with the seller. A lot of times don't even see the home.
Nice.
You pre-qualify so well that many times you're going in and you're asking what you said, something about asking them 3 questions, and then they move forward. What are those 3 questions?
That's really great. So they're right out of Mike Ferry.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yep. So the 3 questions on he's got a 1-minute listing presentation.
Okay.
So, Ren, do you absolutely have to sell your home?
Yes.
Fantastic. Are you willing to price your home to get it sold?
Well, within reason.
Fantastic. So you'll price it within reason. Let me ask you a question, Ren. Do you feel comfortable with me handling the sale for you?
Well, I think so.
You think so? Great. So you didn't answer yes, yes, yes. Normally when I get there, I've pre-qualified my sellers so well that it's yes, yes, yes. Wow. Not all the time, but okay. I would say probably a third say yes, 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 and then I just go right for the close. I pull the paperwork out. Let's do this. So now in your case, you were like, well, you can price it accordingly. Now that tells me we need to pull some comparables out and we need to talk about price.
And very few agents watching this do that. You know, it's a long 1.5 hour long show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned something really early on. If the sellers could do business without us, they would. If they could take a pill and just have us go away and get their home sold, they absolutely would. People anymore tend to stay to themselves. They don't really like, oh, well, now it's somebody else to deal with more stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, if they could, they want it to be simple. They don't care if you've got dogs or cats. They really don't. They just want their home sold. And then what ends up happening, you know, they do business with you because you're a professional. And then what happens is then they found out that you do have goats, right? And they like, oh, that's so cute. But you build the relationship once you've got the business. You don't go in going, list with me because I've got dogs and cats. So
yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
So and you have a well-honed listing business. I mean, it's well-honed. Your presentation, your pre-qualifying, everything is just, you know, it's a process.
Absolutely, it is.
And it doesn't sound like it takes a whole lot of time. You have a lot of agents that will go to the house, meet with them, look around, come back, go to the house again, make a presentation, come back, go back again to discuss it a little further, maybe sign something, maybe not.
Yeah. And the more, here's the real truth, the more time you spend talking to or at a seller, the less chance you have of getting the transaction. The less you say. And it really is about when you can distinguish and recognize that what people do is they talk at people. People don't want to be talked at. The whole presentation is just a series of questions. It's almost like I take myself out of the equation. So with you, Ren, let's say you wanted to sell your home. This has nothing to do with me. It doesn't have anything to do with me. So it's all about you. I am curiously engaged about you, what your goals are, what your plans are, what your timelines are, and whether or not I have the skills and the ability to help you make that happen.
How refreshing. That's, a lot of them, those people go in and pitch and leave.
Yeah.
They have no idea who they're talking to.
Exactly.
That's exciting.
And what happens is you're talking at someone and then they just, there's nothing, that's that whole thing of being able to be with people and be curious, engaged. And it doesn't start at the appointment. It starts way back when we're on the phone dialing. You've got to be curious, engaged, and put yourself aside
Yeah.
So,
So
you know,
let's go do a little Q&A. Andrew Faria on Open 7 Networks asking, well, it's kind of like a three-part question, and I think he probably got some of the answers to this watching this show. It says, how do you compete with agents who are fed listings from the broker? How do you maintain momentum in a slow market? What is it you find causing your success to constantly cause you to list and sell? I think it's your morning routine, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing. So it's, for some people, it's all about ego. It's about having their name on the big billboards and being on the radio shows and all of that. For me, it's about, at the end of the day, making a difference for buyers and sellers and actually helping them like have their real estate dreams come true, whatever that looks like. And for me, at the end of the day, I'm running a business. I'm a business owner, and it's about the bottom line and making a profit. So, you know, these people that are spending thousands of dollars buying all these leads, and then everybody's got I mean, it's all ego driven. So that's a piece of one of the three-part questions that he had.
Or it's fear. Most of them don't want to actually have to call somebody. They're embarrassed. They'd rather have that person call them.
You know, Ren, it's really great you brought that up, because the reason they're embarrassed is they just don't know what to say. They haven't learned how to become a great salesperson. And I don't care what you do in the world. If you want to get married, if you're going to have kids, you better be a good salesperson, right?
If you want to get married, you better start prospecting. I know.
I found mine. I got a good one.
There you go. Are you doing any door knocking at all?
You know, I don't, other than when I'm just around a listing, like a listing appointment, just because it's not for me, I look at what I make per hour. And so I can make so many more contacts on the phone that it really just doesn't make sense for me to door knock. Besides that, I don't like to get all sweaty.
Well, I get that. So it's, we have a question about in the area of circle prospecting. Some people call and say, well, here's an opportunity to pick your neighbors. He said he's aware of that script, but he goes, how do you stand out? Because a lot of people use that script. When you're doing circle prospecting, how do you stand out? What's your approach with circle prospecting?
So a great question. And here's the thing that I'd like to say to that person is that even though, let's say you're using the script and I'm using the identical script, when both you and I call that particular seller or that customer, we are both, they're not going to be able to distinguish for the most part that we're actually using the same script, because we've each internalized that. And we're going to go with it. When you get to know the script, like I said, you don't go ABC, you can actually dance in the conversation. So the seller can say, well, I'm never going to sell. And I go, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. You're going to stay here forever. Is that what I'm hearing you say? And they're going to be like, yeah. So I'm going to say, great. So I'm just curious. Have you ever had a dream? You know, if you were to go, if you were to move somewhere, tell me, where would that be? Right? So I can dance in the conversation. So it might be the same script. The consumer's never going to recognize it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that'll work well.
Yeah. And you seem to speak with more empathy towards them rather than, like you said, speaking at them. So I think, you know, they're going to open up to you quicker.
Yeah, you just got to actually listen. If you can get, so if people get that you actually care, and how you do that is when they say something, you actually want to recreate their conversation. Like, oh my goodness, you are so upset this morning. Your phone, it sounds like it's been ringing off the hook since 7:30 this morning with realtors. It sounds like you've just been absolutely bombarded. How frustrating. Like, I really get how upset you are. Mm-hmm. And they're like, wow, like somebody actually heard what I said versus just bombarding them with the next question.
That will soften it nicely. That will. Yeah. Art McGivern wants to know, are you working 7 days a week? Or what's it look like for you?
No.
Day, home at midnight?
Yeah. Great question. So I absolutely love what I do. And if it were up to me, I probably would work 7 days a week, but no, I don't work 7 days a week. And I will scatter my days. Like I might take a Wednesday off and then come in and prospect on a Saturday or a Sunday. I'll do appointments on like a Saturday, but I try and block my work. So if I'm going to do appointment, I'm going to do 3 or 4 of them to make it worth my time. And one of the things I've also done is coming back to dialing one night a week. So normally Monday nights, I will dial expireds, anybody I didn't catch earlier, and I'll catch everybody from the weekend. The other thing is that I'll come in Saturday morning and or Sunday morning and catch those expireds really early.
Oh, that's smart, because I bet a lot of agents are doing that. Less competition.
Yep, very effective.
Yeah. It sounds like you're going on a lot of listing appointments. Are you sending out a pre-listing packet?
So what we create, we do have, so it's so funny, this is what I was saying, the market's changing. What we have is we have a program, we have a like online, not online, it's a
Digital.
PDF. Yeah, I'm not real technical, right? I'm really good at selling. We have PDFs that we actually email, we actually video, we send a short video along, so they can just actually see who I am, what my mannerisms are, then get a sense of who I am and who would be showing up at their door and who they'd be working with. So we try to always get an email and then send the information that way. There are, some people that just don't do email, and we do have written material that we will mail them.
Yeah. And what is your video you're sending? Is it just kind of introducing yourself? And
absolutely. So we've got an introduction video that just kind of says who we are, what we do, how long we've been doing it, our track record, what you can expect from working with us. And then we've got like the day one in Vulcan, we have the day one expired video that we send to all the expireds, day one of the expired. So yeah, we're just having fun with it. Again, times are changing. You've got to be alive. You've got to be awake. You've got to be paying attention and looking for new ways to grab business.
Yeah, I guess video is no longer an option. It's kind of mandatory now, isn't it?
I think
really
video actually, I hate to say this because, we started doing videos, honestly, about 5, maybe 7 years ago. I think videos are actually kind of a thing of the past. I think that, I hate to say that.
So
but
we're going back to chalkboards now?
No, I don't think we're going back to chalkboards, but I actually think that videos are kind of like worn out,
Okay.
But I wanted to bring up a good point is that, with our past client, for example, being in the business as long as I have, I've got a huge past client database. But what we're finding is what we used to do to keep in touch with them is not enough, because what's happening is social media, right? All of these other avenues they're stepping in and they're getting our customers' attention before we do. So one of the things that I'm really present that's really changing is that you've got to be willing to get attention. You've got to be the go-to person in your city such that anytime anybody thinks about doing real estate, they've got to think, oh my goodness, I've got to call Spring. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to be the go-to. And so then your marketing becomes, or your whole ploy is, how can I be the go-to in my city? What specific actions can I take? And that's really going to define as we move forward in the next couple of years. It's really going to define and make a difference for those that are still in the market when it starts tightening up.
Yeah. Good.
Hendricks wants to know, do you send comps, contract, net, seller's worksheet ahead to your clients? What do you send?
Yeah. Nope, just a quick. So we will email. It's just some information about us, our track record, how many homes we've sold, all of that. We don't send any pricing ahead of time. We'll have a dialogue about it in the pre-qualification script. Again, if you're not familiar with that, go to Mike Ferry, grab the script.
Okay. Alan seems to be asking a lot. He's really interested in your day one video, your day one expired video, what you send to them. Do you use a script, or can you quickly give us a little example?
So I just say something like, oh my goodness, so Spring Cutsforth Realty Group. By now you've realized your home is expired. You've been inundated with calls. I know, they're calling you, they're over talking you. So we kind of go through that. We talk about, was your home on the market? It didn't sell, you had a dream. And then we just talk about, like in Portland, it's important to know your numbers. In Portland, we've got about 6,400 licensed realtors, and 5,000 of those didn't even close the deal last year. So we just kind of get them up to speed on the numbers. And then we just talk about specifically what we do. We'd love the opportunity to earn their business, love the opportunity to meet with them, promise to be 100% honest right up front with the price and what it's going to take to actually get your home sold, what we're going to do. So it's short, sweet.
Great. And you send that after you've made the phone call and spoke to them, or you just send it to everyone?
So if I talk to them, absolutely. Then I say, great, let me get your email. I'm going to send it. That way it's now a soft, and I'll say, hi, Mark, great talking with you today, right? Excited about the opportunity to potentially earn your business. And if I don't get them and all I do is leave a voicemail, and Vulcan is really great about giving me good emails. I'm noticing the emails I'm getting are actually
They
good.
are good ones.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good.
And so now I send that video to everyone if I didn't get them as well.
And you send it the same day that it went expired.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
The earlier, the better. Yep.
Yeah, you did such an endorsement of Mike Ferry that Andrew goes, do you work for Mike Ferry?
You know, what's funny is I coached for Mike. I don't,
Did you do that?
I coached for Mike. I was one of his head coaches for about 5 years, Ren.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
That's back when he had the business planning and we were creating one-on-one and the whole dirty dozen.
There are a lot of people that are very loyal to whatever their coaching company is. And we have people from several that watch this show. And so it's an endorsement of a system that works very, 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 very well. So
yeah,
this has been a great show, an exciting show. And I hope people will send some business as a thank you and also to do some business with her. It'll be a lot more fun.
Let's do it.
I think so. I think so. So I need to do my spot here on. If you're watching on Vulcan 7, you want to get involved with the people that air our show on Facebook. It's called Lead Gen Scripts and Objections. What a great place. They're at facebook.com/groups/got objections. And I want to thank Aaron Wittenstein, who hosts that. He has a program called trajectorynow.com. And if you're watching on Facebook and you're not involved with Vulcan 7, imagine that. You can sign up at vulcan7.com/lead gen for a very special deal. And finally, if like Spring, you are starting at 8 and talking to people and looking for business and signing listing contracts and making presentations and handling objections, and it's lunchtime and you've done your job, it's time to relax, go to the freezer, get some delicious Graeter's mint chocolate chip, available at a store near you all over North America. Just go to graeters.com and find that delicious mint chocolate chip. Only the mint chocolate chip helps you get listed. The other flavors might be for buyers. Chocolate chip, if you bury it upside down in the front yard, the listing will sell.
That was a great show. I learned so much. Awesome information. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Carly. Really great. Thanks for having me. It's been a real great opportunity.
Awesome.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
That coffee looks good.
Yeah, thank you. It is good.